Hi folks, this is Vicki from patternprincess.com. Today I wanted to show you how to do this really pretty, it's a 12-point star, and I've made a number of things out of this. This happens to be some leftover yarn. You may recognize it. I made like a country blue and in a tan blanket that I have the pattern for on my website. It was a V-stitch pattern, very easy one to do. And this one here is leftover yarn, and I've purposely gone every other row here so you can see the stitch pattern. Otherwise, if I use all white or all one color, it's going to be a little bit hard for you to see. But it just, how pretty. I just love the country colors here, and it makes its own almost like a beveled look. If I'm just going to put my hand under it, you can almost see like a little shadow here, and right here it kind of gives its own little beveled look. But anyways, it's a 12 point star blanket, and you can make this as big as you want. I have actually made a big, big enough size Afghan that it covers me. It's a cotton one. Then I made a table topper out of this, and then I'm going to this leftover yarn, I'm just going to use it as a Luvy. And I'm going to do some kind of an applique on this, and some little child is going to get it and I hope just love it. So we're going to start off, we're going to work this center circle here. And in order to have the 12-point star, we're going to end up having 12 double crochets here by the time that we're done. So that very first part there is what we're going to work. So I'm just going to show you this pattern, and since I've used it in a number of different patterns, I'll continue to add to the list as we go along, and you'll see how to, once you get used to working this, it's not so bad. So I get my my slip knot on my hook, I go through here, put my hook in, grab the yarn, there we go, tighten it up, and now I can make it as tight or as loose as I want on here. Okay, so we're going to do a chain 4. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to slip stitch into here. So we're going to form a ring, and this is all that this is our starting ring. And I'm going to get this tail to the other side to get it out of our way, because we're going to be working inside of this circle. I lost my spot. Okay, so I'm going to open this up so you can see our little circle there. We're going to work inside of here, so I'm going to put my hook in here, and I'm going to do, the very first thing I'm going to do is chain 2. So throughout this pattern, I found that if I chain 2, you can't notice, it doesn't seem to be as noticeable where I'm beginning and ending with my yarn. So, I guess I need to yarn over, don't I? Oh, I'm sorry, no, I got to chain 2, pardon me. So we'll be working inside of this little circle right here. See a little circle? I made that bigger. So I'm going to put my hook back in here. And then throughout the pattern, when we start, we're going to be doing a chain 2, and that's always going to start count as a double crochet. Okay, so we're going to chain 2, 1, 2. Then working inside this ring right here, then we're going to work 11 double crochet. So I yarned over, I'm going to put my hook through that little hole, pull the yarn through, and go through 2 loops, yarn over, go through 2 loops. That's 1 double crochet. So it's really the chain 2 counted as 1, this one counted as 1. So we have 10 more to go, because we want to get a total of 12 in there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to bring that over so I crochet over it. 5, 6, 7, 8, and I'm going to count before I slip stitch. 9. I think I got one more. Okay, so we should be able to count 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that's critical. If you don't have 12 there, you will not have a 12-point star. So then right here, this loop right here, both of these loops right here, Make sure that you can see it right there. On the top stitch of the first chain 2, we're going to put a hook through, and then we're just going to join with a slip stitch. So that first circle is done. Now I'm going to show you what we're going to work on next. Now we're going to work on this part here, this tan part right here. Okay. And in this round here, we're going to chain 2, and then we're going to double crochet in the same stitch, and then we're going to do 2 double crochet in each stitch around, so that we should have total of 24 double crochet when we're done. So we're chain 2, and then in that same stitch, a double crochet, and then the next stitch gets 2 double crochet. Yarn over, the next stitch, 2 double crochet. Next one. Now we're just going to keep going, putting 2 double crochet in each one. And I'm going to continue on. When I get back over here, I will join you again, okay? Okay, now I'm going to have one more spot here I have to do. 1, 2, and right now you should have 2 double crochet in each one around, and of course remember that beginning chain 2 counts as a stitch, so you should have a total of 24 double crochet. Okay, and now we are going to join this with a slip stitch again into that top chain, and we have round 2 is all complete. All right, so now we're going to go into round 3, and this is where it's going to change a little bit. What you're really going to be doing is every other double crochet you're going to be creating a V-stitch. You see that blue round here? Okay, that's the round we're going to work on, so let's work on that. So we're going to chain 2, and I keep right on here, 1, 2. Okay, we're going to skip this double crochet into the next double crochet. So we're going to skip this one into this next double crochet. We're going to work a double crochet, a chain 2, and a double crochet. So we'll double crochet, chain 2, and double crochet right back in that same hole. We're going to skip the next stitch, and then right in the next one we're going to double crochet, chain 2, and double crochet. Okay, and then skip the next, and then double crochet in the next, chain 2, and double crochet. Skip the next, and the next one we're going to do a double crochet, chain 2, and we should do this 12 times. If we don't have 12 when we end one, we're going to skip one, go to the next. Then we know that we've miscounted, we've missed a step somewhere, and then we have to thank goodness for crochet that is very forgiving. You can just tear it out. 1, and the second one we hear, go double crochet, chain 2, double crochet, skip 1, double crochet, chain 2, double crochet. You can see that my yarn is wadding up on me. Then we have skip 1, double crochet, chain 2, double crochet, skip 1, double crochet, chain 2, and double crochet in the same stitch. Skip 1, double crochet, chain 2, double crochet, skip 1, double crochet, chain 2, double crochet. So before we join, let's count and see where we are, okay? So we're just going to get rid of this. We're just going to count our V stitches here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I have to do one more because I'm going to skip this one, and then right here is going to be my last one, and we're going to join it. So I'm going to skip this one, put my hook, it's going to be right below where I did that initial chain stitch, so it's right below. Put my hook in there, do my double crochet, chain 2, and then I'm going to join to the top of those stitches of the first chain stitch, and I'm going to do my slip stitch. Now we have our 12. So this is loose right here, so if it's tight, but here's our 12. Right there's number 12. So we now have that round done. So round 4, because now we're already starting our, as you can tell, we're already starting our 12 point star. So here, okay, this one here, turn it around so it's the right side. So now we have 1, 2, 3 done. So 3 are done. We're going to move on to this one here, this row, 4th row, okay? So it's going to really start to take shape. And then as you can tell, really after this row, we're really going to repeat. The only thing that's going to change is you're going to have additional stitches in here. In each row, each spot, it's going to get wider and more stitches between these 2 spots, because here we skip 2 stitches, and and here we add 2 stitches. We skip 2, so we're doing almost creating our V zigzag here. If you've ever done a chevron blanket, it's kind of a little bit of the same concept. So in this row here, we're going to start this, and then each row just gets wider and wider with the stitches in between. So, all right, for round 4, we'll show you how to do this. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to be working inside of these V stitches. All right, so inside of this first one, and there's also throughout this, there's like a small V stitch and a larger one, or I should say a small shell and a large shell. The small shell is going to consist really of this V stitch here, where we just do the double crochet, chain 2, double crochet, and then the other one, the larger shell that we can call it, is going to be 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet. Hopefully that makes sense. And as we start going here, so this really was like a small shell, and then the next 2 are going to be large shells, and then the next one. So we're gonna alternate between 2 large and a small, 2 large and a small. Okay, coming up here pretty soon, and then you'll repeat that pattern the whole way through. Okay, so we're going to work in this chain 2 space. All right, so we're going to chain 2. Oops, hang on. I did this wrong. I got to work over in that space. So I'm going to, just because I'm so close right here, see that? I'm just going to insert my hook, bring a yarn around, and I'm there. Okay, I'm in there. Or I could just do a slip stitch over to there in the stitches. So chain 2, which is going to count as a double crochet, yarn over, double crochet, chain 2, yarn over, and 2 more double crochets. 1, 2. So now we're going to go right to this next shell here, and we're going to work the large shell. We're not going to do anything in between, okay? So now we're just going to do 2 double crochet and a chain 2 and 2 double crochet, all right in that small shell. Okay, and we go to the next double crochet, chain 2 and double crochet. Whoops, I'm trying to hold this so you can see what I'm doing here, to make sure that you can see what's happening, and then I catch my yarn. Double crochet, chain 2 and 2 double crochet, and I'm going to continue this all the way around, and then I'm going to meet you back over here. Okay, I've just finished this round here. I haven't joined it yet, so we can count together. So we have the large shell, the 2 double crochet and the chain 2. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it works out to 12. and then we are going to join it right here to the top stitches of the initial chain 2 and do a slip stitch. Okay, then this round is done. There. Now we're going to go back to our round. You see, because you know how it's, I'm going to show you here, it's getting kind of hard to show you and have you see, I think, on the white. I think, whoopsies, my whole thing is moving now. I think that it's much easier to show you the different varied looks of each row with this colored one, see? So hopefully this is helping you. So we have row 1, 2, 3, and now 4 done. So we have the 12 large shells. So right here, in this row here, is really where we're going to start the alteration of large shell, small. Because if we look, well, let me see, if we look, I'm looking at this upside down. So when we look at our shells, okay, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, so row 5. So there's an extra stitch in here, and an extra stitch in there is because we're going to start adding a stitch now. But this is a large shell, and if you look here, if you pull it apart, that's really just one. It's one double crochet and then a chain 2. But see on the edge here, on the row, it's already 1, 2, 3 stitches wide here. And this here is 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches wide, and then I have the 2 double crochet. So hopefully that's going to help you as we walk through it, because as you do the large, when you alternate, I'll have on the written pattern, I will have on there the exact count for you in each row that I have, and it'll show how many on each side, and if it's a large shell or a small shell. But here, this row here is where we start the counting of the first large shell, the second large shell, and then a small shell. And then we have a large shell, small shell. And so this large shell here, we're going to have 1 extra double crochet in the middle of our work. And then the next row, we're going to have a large shell, and then we're going to have 1 extra double crochet. So we're going to work through this here with you, okay? All right, so for row 5, we're going to do chain 2. That's going to count as a double crochet. All right, so that's already our extra double crochet. That's already our extra one. So then we go into here. Okay, I'm going to put my hook, whoops, I got a yarn over, put my hook in here because we're going to do our large shell again. So we're going to do 2 double crochet, chain 2, and 2 double crochet. Okay, and then we're going to, right in here, this stitch here, this stitch right here, we're going to do a double crochet. Okay, then we are going to skip 2 stitches. So skip this stitch and this stitch, skip those 2 right there, and then there's 1 more stitch here. We're going to do a double crochet because you have to think about, you have 2 sides here. There's really this side here starting and this side. And then we have our next shell, we're going to work a large shell. So we go in there with 2 double crochet, chain 2, and then 2 double crochet. Okay, now we add our stitch. Right here is our spot where we do our double crochet. And then we skip 2, 1, 2, and then we put the double crochet on the other side. And then we, in the center here, we do our large shell, 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet. When I was working on the blanket, as the stitches in between were getting bigger, I'd actually do the stitches. I'd have like 21 stitches on each side. I would actually do the stitches on a side, then I'd go back and I'd count, because otherwise it's pretty hard to be counting and watching TV at the same time. So it's skip 2, and then right here we're going to do another double crochet, and then we do our large shell. So I'm going to do this around, and then I'm going to show you what this looks like, and then we're going to do the next round, okay? We're going to do a couple more rounds so you start to see how repetitive this starts to look, okay? Okay, so now I've just about finished round 5, and I have 2 stitches left here. Here was my initial chain 2 right here. So now I'm going to join this right here. So this round consists of a large shell and then an extra double crochet. I'm just going to join this with a slip stitch. Okay, so that's all joined. And it is pretty hard to see. Make sure that I hold this up. It is pretty hard to see where I have joined and where I didn't join, where I started and stopped. I think it's starting to look really pretty. So this is round 5, and I have 12 points yet, so we're going good. Okay, so now we're going to go round 6. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to do this one. Now this one here consists of 2 double crochets. You see that? 2 double crochets, and then our large shell yet. So now we have 2. Here we had 1. We added on our first one, and we did our first time where we skipped our 2 stitches in the middle. So we're going to still skip 2 stitches in the middle. That makes that hole this way. And then of course this makes this hole this way when you do the large shell. So, all right, so we're going to go on, and we're going to have a large shell with 2 double crochet on each side of the large shell. And I always made sure, as I was working each project that I did, if this first part here is off, right here, if this is off, the whole thing is off. I didn't even count right. I either did and I sometimes did, did a small shell in place of a large shell. But again, I'll make sure I have the numbers there for you so you can go back and straighten yourself back out in case you didn't count right. It's okay. So we're going to do a chain 2, counts as a double crochet. So right here in the next stitch, we have to do a double crochet. So here on this side, I've done it right. So remember, the chain 2 counts as it, so it's 1, 2 double crochets, so we're good. So now inside of here, we work the large shell. So we work our 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet. Oops. I hate that. I get enough yarn off my hook and then it wads up when I'm trying to show you. And then, okay, so in this first stitch here, double crochet, and the next stitch, double crochet. Now we should be to the point where there's a V-stitch. Yep, you can see that starting to form right there. There's your V-stitch. So you, or I should say the two little stitches that you skipped to create that little V part. That's what I was trying to say. So you skip those 2 stitches, and then you do a double crochet here and here on the other side. Now you do your large shell inside the center. I'll finish this one, and then I'll meet you on the other side here. I'll show you in a second. Make sure that you have the stitches. So again, this one right here, put your hook in. This is 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, skip 2, and then another one, and another one. And then we continue on with our large shell. And I'm going to get back over by here, and I'll meet you over here, okay? Okay, we have round 6 done. And again, this is the large and 2 double crochet on either side. So again, we're going to skip our last 2, put our hook through the top 2 of the beginning chain 2, and do a slip stitch. Now, we're moving on to round 7. Round 7 is going to be the small V-stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is the blue. So in this one here, we're going to have 3 double crochet and then our small V-stitch. Now, in the next row always after, remember, it's 2 large rows and a small, or 2 large V-stitches and a small. This is where you add on. Each V-stitch is where you're going to either add on or stay the same, because it eases this out to make sure that it lays nice and flat. It won't curl on you. Okay, so then the next one, after you do that small V-stitch, your count of your double crochets on each side is going to be the same. So see, here is a small V-stitch, you have 3 double crochet. So here's the next one, this is a large V-stitch, the large shell, and it still has 3 double crochet because you didn't add any when you had the small V-stitches, the small shell. But then here, because you had the large shell, we've added 1 more stitch. So now this row would be row 8 right here. You have your large, or I should say this would be already row 9, pardon me, row 9. You would have 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 on either side. So hopefully that's going to help you. But again, when you start off your small, this is your small roll, and this is round 7. You do your chain 2, counts as a double crochet, and you should have a small and 3. So here's 1. Go to the next stitch, 2. Go to the next stitch, whoops, 3. And then in here, you do a small. So it's 1 double crochet, chain 2, and then 1 double crochet rather than we did 2 like before. Yarn over, you're going to go right into that same stitch that you did before. 1, 2, 3. Skip 2, 1, 2, that brings you into your valley, and then you go up the other side with your 3 double crochet, 1, and the next stitch, and the next stitch, and now we would do our small V-stitch, double crochet, chain 2, double crochet. So I'm pretty sure you get the idea now. So hopefully this is going to help you. You just work all the way around, and before long, you can make this as bigger or smaller. It's kind of like one of those granny squares. And when you do a granny square blanket and you just keep building it and building it and building it rather than put all your granny squares together, you can make it as big as you would like it. So I hope that you've enjoyed this. I hope that this inspires you to make your own 12-point star blanket or table topper or a little lovey like this, or I can't wait to see what you come up with. But thank you again. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Take care and have a wonderful day.